At the beginning of the film, it is explained through notes that during the 20th century, poverty drastically increased worldwide. This forced many people into dangerous jobs, such as interplanetary mining. To transport workers to these hazardous locations, a teleportation technology called slipstreaming was developed. For slipstreaming to work, a device known as Apex is installed inside the workers' bodies, connecting to their nervous system, which allows them to be teleported to specific destinations. The scene then shifts to a group of nervous soldiers, particularly focusing on a woman who seems very anxious. Her superior, David, along with other doctors, asks her some questions, but she is unable to respond clearly, causing concern among the group. The tension rises as they prepare for an important mission. In the next scene, we meet a man named Whit, who is starting his first day on the job. The soldiers, including Whit, are headed to the space headquarters, where they will be sent on a rescue mission to a distant planet. Before leaving, Whit's pregnant wife, Lisa, asks him to come back soon, and Whit promises her that he'll be home by evening. Whit arrives at the headquarters, called West Coast, where the soldiers are preparing for their mission. The captain gathers the group and tells them to get ready to leave. The mission is to travel to a planet called Infinity. Once the team reaches Infinity, something strange happens. The soldiers begin to act oddly, almost as if they've been infected by something dangerous. Meanwhile, back at the headquarters, something goes terribly wrong, triggering a lockdown that traps the captain and the remaining soldiers inside the base. One of the soldiers, trying to fix the situation, connects the Apex devices of Dane, Whit, and himself to Infinity, successfully teleporting them to the planet. However, when he tries to connect the captain's Apex, something malfunctions, leaving the captain stuck at the base while Dane and Whit are sent to Infinity. After that, David arrives to brief his soldiers. He explains that they are being sent to the planet Infinity for a rescue mission. Recently, there was a terrible accident on the planet where thousands of miners were killed. To investigate what happened, a scientist named Montoli was sent with a team. However, something strange happened to his team, and they all died as well. When they tried to bring Montoli back using the Apex system, he forcibly removed his Apex device, as if he didn't want to return. His mental condition had seriously deteriorated. David goes on to explain that Montoli took control of a spaceship from the base on Infinity. If that spaceship reaches Earth, the entire planet will be destroyed. A rescue team was sent from the West Coast base to stop the ship and save Montoli, but they failed, and everyone on the team was killed. However, there is still hope that one soldier, Whit, survived. David informs the soldiers that their mission is to go to Infinity, save Whit, and stop the spaceship. He also warns them that time on Infinity is different from Earth. 1 minute and 14 seconds on Earth equals 14 hours on Infinity. They must complete the mission within 24 Infinity hours, or the spaceship will reach Earth. After giving this briefing, David teleports the soldiers to Infinity. Upon arrival, the captain questions Whit about what happened to the other soldiers. Whit, clearly emotional, explains that the team became infected by something. They lost control and began killing each other. Whit had no choice but to lock himself in a room and destroy the rest of the base, which killed everyone. The captain, puzzled, asks why there are dismembered human body parts scattered around. Whit insists he knows nothing about that. The captain then tells Whit that they have come to rescue him, but first, they need to stop the spaceship being controlled from the base. Whit agrees to help, and the team begins working to shut down the ship. A soldier named Harris goes with George and Claire, a couple, to disable the spaceship systems, while Whit stays in the control room, guiding them and trying to stop the ship from launching. Rex, one of the soldiers, looks at Whit and says he can't understand how Whit managed to survive when everyone else got infected. He demands Whit to show his eyes. Annoyed, Whit does so and asks Rex, "What made you believe I'm not infected just by looking at my eyes?" After seeing this, Rex decides to trust Whit. With Rex, Harris, and the other soldiers working together, they finally manage to stop the spaceship from launching. Everyone feels a sense of relief, but suddenly, an infected person appears and attacks the captain with an axe, killing him. This shocks everyone. Then another infected person attacks the soldiers, but one of the soldiers shoots him in the face. However, the infected person's blood sprays onto the soldiers, infecting them as well, causing them to behave strangely. Despite the chaotic situation, Whit tries to run away. In his panic, he loses his balance and falls. Another soldier catches up to him and demands answers, accusing Whit of betraying them. The soldier asks, "You said everyone was dead. Then how did this infected person survive?" Believing Whit lied to them, the soldier threatens not to let him escape. As Whit tries to flee, the soldier follows him. Soon they encounter an infected soldier. The infected soldier and the accusing soldier end up fighting, and both die in the struggle. Whit makes it to a lab where he searches desperately for medicine. Not finding any, he becomes frustrated, and his erratic behavior makes it seem like he might be infected too. While in the lab, Whit discovers research papers written by the scientists who came with Montoli. The papers talk about an alien species called OG. These organisms are glass-like and melt at 10 degrees Celsius. Once inside a human body, they take complete control, learning everything about the host. They also create new cells, which can transform the human body. To Whit's horror, he learns that these life forms exist in the millions. Just then, Harris enters the lab and points a gun at Whit. He accuses Whit of lying and trapping them on the planet. Harris demands to know how Whit hasn't been infected. Whit insists that he's telling the truth, saying he stayed away from the infected people, which kept him safe. He also shares what he learned about the OG aliens, leaving Harris shocked. At that moment, Rex, now infected, bursts into the lab and attacks Harris. As Rex is about to shoot Harris, Whit urges Rex to remember who he is and that Harris is his friend. Rex briefly regains control of himself and, in a final act to protect Harris, shoots himself, ending his life to stop the infection from spreading further. As Whit begins to leave, Harris calls out to him, accusing him of being infected. He says, "I know you're infected too, and you're responsible for my entire team's death. I won't let you go." Harris raises his gun to shoot, but before he can, Whit quickly fires first, killing Harris. Whit then continues moving forward and comes across Rig, who is clearly infected. Rig is speaking into a mic, muttering, "I will save you." When Whit approaches, Rig tells him, "I won't kill you because now I understand. You're like me, but I'm jealous. Why hasn't the life form inside you fully awakened yet?" The statement reveals that Whit is indeed infected, even though the infection hasn't taken over as much as it has with Rig. Rig then claims he's started the extraction process, which will allow them to return to Earth. Hearing this, Whit feels a sense of hope and asks, "Who is the doctor in your team?" Rig replies that Claire is the doctor, but she's already infected. Rig also tells him that only a few of them are left: himself, Whit, Claire, and George. Meanwhile, George finds Claire, who is soaked in blood. He asks her what happened, and she confesses, "I killed my child." George becomes furious and they start to fight. Afterward, Whit finds Claire, but she's barely alive. He asks her if she knows anything about the life form, hoping for a way to stop it. Claire, weak and defeated, tells him, "It's too late. We're all going to die." After saying this, she succumbs to her injuries and dies. Shortly after, Rig confronts Whit again, pointing a gun at him. Rig admits that he lied about the extraction process and confesses that his true intention is to kill Whit. "You showed me your eyes in anger, and I can't let that go," Rig says. They start to fight, and Whit desperately tries to escape, hiding in the chaos. However, the infection is beginning to affect Whit, making him weaker. Rig eventually finds Whit again, and they fight one last time. In a final struggle, Whit manages to grab a pipe and wrap it around Rig's neck. With great effort, Whit strangles Rig, ending his life in the fight. After everything that's happened, Whit decides to record one last audio message, addressing the alien life form directly. He says, "I know you can hear and understand me. I want you to know that I will never let your plans succeed. You've taken so many lives while wandering through us, trying to understand humans, but all you've learned is violence and destruction. If you had focused on the good things humans have to offer, you could have brought new hope to people who were broken or lost. But instead, all you've done is bring death. That's all you've learned, and I won't let it continue." With that, Whit ends the recording. He plays the message on a loop and then sits down at a table. Determined to stop the life form from fully taking over, he cuts his own wrist, hoping to die on his own terms. As the blood flows from his body, Whit eventually dies. Some time passes, and something strange begins to happen. The life form starts leaving the bodies of all the dead soldiers, withdrawing from them. At the same time, Whit's blood, which had drained away, begins to flow back into him. In a miraculous moment, Whit is brought back to life. He looks around and sees the other soldiers are also reviving, just like him. The sight leaves Whit and the others in shock, unable to understand how they came back from the dead. The captain quickly gathers the group and tells them they need to return to headquarters. But there's one important thing: no one must know that they were infected. If anyone finds out, they might kill us. We also need to make sure no one else comes here again, because our mission is over. The soldiers all agree, knowing they have no other choice. They start preparing to teleport back to Earth using their Apex systems. Just as they are about to leave, Whit sees the alien life form again, now in the shape of a humanoid figure. To Whit's shock, the creature is holding something, a photo of Lisa, Whit's wife. This stuns Whit, but before he can react, they are teleported back to Earth. Once back on Earth, the soldiers are immediately met by David and the other doctors. Just like at the beginning of the movie, they are bombarded with questions and prepared for scanning. Everyone is nervous because they know if the doctors find out they were infected, it could mean disaster. However, Whit steps forward first, taking a deep breath and providing his information for the scan. Miraculously, the scan comes back negative, showing no sign of infection. The others follow, and one by one, all the soldiers are cleared. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief, thankful that they escaped the infection's grasp. Finally, Whit reunites with Lisa. Despite everything that happened on Infinity, only a few hours have passed on Earth. Lisa, unaware of the ordeal, is overjoyed to see Whit. Their reunion is filled with a mix of relief and joy. The movie ends with this emotional moment, Whit returning home after an unimaginable incredible journey, alive and safe with his wife. As the explanation wraps up, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the movie. If you did, don't forget to like the video and support the channel by subscribing. I'll see you in the next explanation. Thanks for watching, friends.